Good morning, everyone. You're watching Barnstable this morning. I'm Sarah Colvin. The Barnstable Senior Services Division is embarking on a needs assessment to try to determine how it can improve its programming for the seniors here in the town of Barnstable. Today, to talk to me a little bit about an upcoming community forum and the needs assessment, I welcome Director of Senior Services, Madeline Noonan. Maddie, good morning.
Hi, Sarah. Great to be with you today.
Thank you. Great to have you on the show as always. So tell me a little bit, Maddie, about this needs assessment and really why it's being done and how it's going to be conducted.
Well, it's something that we're really excited to be moving forward with. It's something that we've spoken about the last couple of years and really felt that it was, in order for us to move forward and continue to grow and be able to meet the demands of our aging population, that it was something that was very important for us to undertake. A couple of years ago, the State Executive Office of Elder Affairs had actually forwarded us a needs assessment study that was done for the town of Marshfield. And at the time when I received it and looked through it, I thought, you know what, this is a really great document. It made, it was a very in-depth study and analysis of, that town and the services that were currently in place and what they felt based on the demographic projections would be needed in order for them to continue to be able to provide the necessary services. And I felt like this is something that we really need to do. So at that time, this was like actually in 2012, I had approached both of our boards, the Council on Aging and the Friends of the Barnstable Council on Aging, really started having discussion about our long-term planning efforts. And, with the economy the way it's been the last couple of years, I mean, we've been trying to get by, on sort of doing, more, with less. But really for us to really focus our attention, and looking at the demographics in Barnstable, we currently have 28% of our population is over 60 in this town. And that is actually projected to grow to over 40% by 2030. When you think about that, it's only 16 years away. It's really not that far. And the fact that we have just celebrated this year 15 years of being in the senior center, it kind of made us, I think, very mindful of the fact that really now is the time for us to start this. So, as I mentioned, bringing it to the attention of the boards and really trying to get their support, which, they backed us on this, and the Friends asked us if we needed some help with funding towards it because the total project cost was $35,000, and I had actually made connections with UMass Boston's Gerontology Institute, who had conducted the study in Marshfield, and then also continued to do further studies for the towns of Hingham, Cohasset, Falmouth, and they just recently completed it for the city of Newton, and really was very impressed by the product, by the process. I'd spoken to other directors in those communities and sort of, gotten feedback from them on the process. And everybody really embraced it, and it really worked for them and for the particular reasons that they were doing it. And why we're doing it in Barnstable, as I mentioned, is something that we feel very strongly that we have a beautiful facility here, which, we hear time and time again that, we're the envy of so many other communities. In fact, next week we actually have a group of about 30 senior center directors from across the state coming to visit our senior center as part of the Massachusetts Council on Aging conference, and it's a great opportunity for us to showcase what we have and how fortunate we are. But, in terms of the actual services that we provide and the need to meet those needs of the current elderly population and the future, the baby boomers and the younger seniors that are continuing to age and may not really think that they need to get involved now, but at some point in time, they will be coming to us, and we need to be prepared for that. So all of these factors together were like, we need to do this. So for us, we were very fortunate that we brought it to the town's attention. The Friends agreed to give us $10,000, and the town came up with the additional $25,000. So, to get that support from the community, I think was, I think it was just sort of like an awareness, that our community needs this at this point in time.
Absolutely, and the input, Maddie, from the senior population is really important in these beginning phases of the needs assessment. Talk to me a little bit. I know on October 7th there's a pair of forums that are designed for people to come and share thoughts on what they like, what they don't like. Tell me a little bit about what you're hoping to get out of these forums, and who should come.
Absolutely, great question. Absolutely for us it was, if we're going to do this in a very meaningful and thoughtful way, we need to approach the community directly and really hear from them. And so the town of Falmouth had actually recently done a study, and part of why they were doing it was to get a new senior center. And so they did a community forum. They had a very strong turnout. And I really liked the fact that they went out to the community, invited people to come in, and, the sharing of ideas. And so we're looking at this almost like a SWOT analysis. I mean, we're really trying to get people to come in and tell us, what their sense is. If they're familiar with the facility, or if maybe they haven't visited us before. We want to hear from people regardless of their level of knowledge or awareness of what we do currently. But we want to tell them what they see as our vision for the future, and kind of get an idea of what the situation is right now. Like, what are the current strengths of the senior, not just the senior center, but the senior services division? What are the weaknesses? If there's any areas where people think maybe we're lacking or we need to focus more attention and resources, and then where are the areas of opportunity for us, and the challenges that we face. As you know, I mean, obviously all municipal departments are dealing, with financial challenges and whatnot, and resource allocation. So we want to, get a broad sense from the community, and we're hoping that it will be representative of the Barnstable community. We're inviting people that are over 50. Now, if people want to come in that are younger, absolutely, that's fine. We welcome anyone to come in, but it's really targeted more at the 50-plus population. The study will actually look at the 50 to 59 demographic, and then the 60-plus, which, 60 is basically what the state has defined as the age of a senior. So we're kind of focusing on two specific areas, but we're inviting anyone to come to the forums, and as you mentioned, we're hosting two. The reason being that we wanted to make sure that if there were people that would like to come, but maybe were working during the day or in the evening, that they would have an opportunity to attend one or the other. The first one is at 2 p.m. This is next Tuesday, October 7th, and the second one is at 5:30 in the evening. And they'll be facilitated by Professor Jan Muchler from UMass Boston's Gerontology Institute. And again, we're looking at this, I think for us, the approach that we're taking is, it's a learning experience for us because we want to hear from people out there, and we want to learn from them about their interests and needs as they age, whether they're a senior now or a future senior in town, and also we're hoping that we can educate and inform the community about what we do currently, and really what our plans for the future are, and work together to create that vision. Is really, we know that we're the biggest and the best regionally, that we have the biggest facility, the largest staff, which you would expect because Barnstable is the biggest community in the region, and with the geographically and demographically, and we want to make sure that the services that we provide are appropriate for the community.
Indeed, and Maddie, I would imagine that as the years go by, the needs of the seniors change because the demographic of the seniors change.
Yeah.
I know that we've talked a lot about the baby boomers, that generation kind of moving into the senior population.
Yeah.
And certainly their needs and desires of what they want to get out of senior services, out of the senior center, are going to differ from those who came 10, 20, 30 years before them.
Oh, you got it, Sarah. Absolutely, and that's something that we're not just facing this alone. Every senior center in this country is trying to, figure out how do we attract and appeal to the younger, seniors and the boomers that have a completely different range of interests. They're a totally different generation, and for us to meet those needs, we really have to evolve. And we see kind of oftentimes here, we had a recent situation where we had a woman who had come in. She came in to take part in a Scrabble group, and she was so impressed by her experience here that she actually wrote us a card, and she brought us in a beautiful little gift, a little vase full of shells she had picked at local beaches for the front desk. And her note was very compelling to me. It really, resonated with me because she was actually in her 50s, and she had jokingly said that she never thought, when her friend suggested coming here, she thought, I didn't think I'd have any interest in the senior center for years, but when I came through the doors and saw how warm and welcoming the environment was and how friendly, the staff were, I just wanted to be part of that. And I think that's what we want to kind of reach out to people and let them know, the senior center name may deter people who think that they're, don't want to maybe like that word.
Right. That's for old people. I'm not
exactly.
an old person.
It's a perception issue that I think we need to have that kind of shift in, and you've been here many times. When you walk through, you don't think of age when you come to the senior center.
Definitely not.
Because you look at how, and I think we try to focus more on the experience people have. We've worked very hard to create an environment and an atmosphere that really is welcoming, that's very modern and contemporary. When we talk about our lobby revitalization that we did, comments had been made that it looked like a nursing home, and we're thinking that's not the image that we want to have out there. So, we work very hard on a continual basis, but, I think for us, really, the emphasis with the needs assessment is involving the community, and we hope that people will show up and voice their opinions. We want to hear, people express what they feel, either currently or what they expect from us, and this is all going to help us shape our future. And the community forum is one piece of many that will really form the completed study. We'll talk about this more as time progresses, because from beginning to end, soup to nuts, this is a year-long process. And we will be doing a community survey in the spring of 2015 that will be going out to approximately 4,300 people over the age of 50 in town. So we're actually going to be surveying 20% of the over 50 population. That we're conducting some focus groups. There will be a peer comparison that will take Barnstable and our senior services division and compare us to other similarly sized communities, and sort of see where we fall in terms of the programs and services that we offer and how they compare with other communities, which I think will be very helpful to us too. So it's a very exciting process. We've got our teeth into this. It's like a big initiative for us, and we're hoping that people will learn more about us as time goes on.
Absolutely.
We look at the demographics in the last, between 2000 and 2010, our senior population grew by 7.5%, whereas the overall population in Barnstable dropped 5%.
Wow.
So I think that's sort of, the younger population dropped, the senior, and we see that in the community.
We absolutely do. Well, Maddie, I certainly look forward to communicating with you more about this needs assessment process as it goes forward, and I thank you so much for joining us here on Barnstable this morning.
Thanks a million, Sarah. Take care.
Thanks, Maddie. You too.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Madeline Noonan is the Director of Senior Services in the town of Barnstable. Of course, those public forums for the needs assessment, Barnstable residents aged 50 and over are invited to attend. There's 2 of them tomorrow, Tuesday, October 7th, one at 2 o'clock and one at 5:30. You can visit the Senior Center's page on the town's website for more information. I'm Sarah Colvin.